Well, I'm on my way out to look at another mine today. This is probably the last day we're going to be able to look at any mines up above about 4,000 feet. Big storm coming in. This is the last blue sky we're going to see for about a week. It sounds like we're going to be storming for the next week or so. So we're supposed to get some snow. But so I'm on my way to see that mine. I thought I would stop here at the old Berkmont mine and give you a little update. I made a video about this mine several years ago. This is the part of the hoist house, what it's at right here. This is what the hoist sat on. The shaft is right behind me back there, about a 300-foot shaft. And this was a copper slash gold mine. And during that video, I mentioned that I'd seen some coins that had been minted specifically for this mine, some souvenir coins. And where those come about from was the guy who started this mine was trying to get more investors involved, and one of the ways he did that was took copper from this actual mine and had it minted local into some souvenir coins. And I'd spotted one on eBay right when I made the video. I was doing research for this mine and spotted those. I was like, man, I really wish I had one of those, but I haven't been able to find one. Well, that all changed this spring. A local store here, Baker Gold and Silver, really good guys there. I've sold them way in the past. I've sold them some gold, and every once in a while, when we have some extra money, we'll buy some silver from them once in a while. But really good guys to deal with. But they just happened to stumble across my video because they had bought a collection of coins from somebody local that had either passed away. I didn't get the full story. They either passed away and the family was selling the coin collection, or the person was just selling their whole collection. But they just so happened to have one of those coins in that collection. And like I said, I've been looking for one of these for quite a while and haven't been able to come up with one. And so they were researching. They'd never heard of the Berkmont mine. And so they were doing some Google searching and stumbled across my video, sent me an email and said, hey, we just happen to have one of these coins if you're still interested. Well, it was about a month later when I finally saw the email. So I called them up. I said, do you still have that coin? Yeah, we sure do. So I ran down there, and sure enough, in the flesh, here was one of these Berkmont souvenir coins. And I thought, you know, these guys, they're in it to make money. They're a business. And I was just hoping they didn't want too much for it. Only one I've seen on eBay sold for about 40 to 50 bucks, I think. I've seen other ones on Etsy, but somebody wanted like $500, and there's no way I was going to pay $500 for a copper coin. And so I went down there and I looked at it, and I'm like, yeah, I'm definitely interested. How much do you want for this? And they said, you know, we really liked your video. This thing's more interesting to you than probably anybody else we're going to find. So just take it. You know, thanks for making the video. So big shout out to Baker Gold and Silver. I now have my hands on a Berkmont mine souvenir coin. And it's kind of eerie in a way to think this was minted in 1905 from miners that were working right here, digging copper out of this ground and minting a coin locally in Baker. They minted this coin. And to be sitting here holding this at the site the copper came out of is really, really cool. So big shout out, huge shout out to Baker Gold and Silver for hooking me up with this coin. Here's some close-up shots of it. And, you know, it's got the hoist house, or the shaft house as they called it, on one side, and on the other side, you know, it's a sample of Berkmont copper in May 1905. The North American Mining Company is the company that started this mine. So again, huge shout out to Baker Gold and Silver for hooking me up. If you guys ever need to buy gold, silver, coins, bullion, that's a really good place. They don't overcharge you at all. I've done quite a bit of business over the years with them. And if you need to sell gold, they give you a fair price for it. So big shout out to those guys. Thanks a lot for hooking me up with this coin. Really appreciate it. Well, enough of that. Let's run on up to the other mine we're going to look at today before the storm rolls in. By the way, you'll be seeing this little Nissan Xterra in quite a few of the videos. The dirt bike, well, it went bye-bye. I replaced it with this. I'll explain more in another video. Bought it from a guy that was a local mechanic. It's like a 2013, 16, 14, I don't know. But only had 60,000 miles on it, and he put a lift kit on it, and it was done right, so I couldn't turn it down. Okay, we're gonna hike down in the bottom of this canyon. It's not too far down to the mine. There used to be a road that went to it, but it's been closed off, so we're gonna have to hike it from up here. Whew, was not expecting that. Expecting some soft ground, and this is frozen solid. Now we're down into some, where the sun's been hitting it, a little bit softer. I'm also looking for the veins as I'm walking down through here. There was allegedly 4 separate, what they called ledges through here. I need to get down here on this game trail. This is frozen ground, it's a little hard to walk on. Oh, good game trail here. Well, this will likely be the last outing up to any of these mines above about 4,000 feet. Since we're supposed to get snow the next few days, thought I would take the day off and come out and explore this mine. Here's something I did not know was here, because this is the first time I've been in this way. I'll be danged. Had no idea this was here. And I didn't bring a light. I'm an idiot. Oh boy. Don't think it goes back very far. Trying to let my eyes adjust to see if I can see the back of it. No, I think it goes past the point where I'm looking. Okay, we're going to need a light. From what I've been able to tell in my trips in here in the past, this is the material they were digging out. From the looks of this dump, it probably goes back in 50 to 100 feet. Okay, before we get too far into this video, this mine we're about to look at, I was going to tell you the name, the history, what little history there is of this mine, all that good stuff. But I'm going to leave the name out of this mine because I found open adits. A couple of them I want to come back and explore. One we explored today. So I don't want these winding up closed up with bat bars or coming in and collapsing them or whatever. So I'm not going to divulge the name of this mine. Which really bums me when I can't do that, because I enjoy sharing the history with everyone. But on this one, I'm just not going to do it. Somebody, if it's not me, I'm taking some samples today. If it's not me that wants to come in here and do a little exploring work, prospecting, somebody else probably will. So if you're the person that wants to come in here and maybe open up one of these other adits, explore the ones that are open, do a little prospecting / mining, send me an email. We'll talk, and I'll let you know where this place is. But I like I said, I don't like these old mines getting bat barred and closed up to where nobody can come in and do any easy prospecting. Can't easily open them back up to do any mining. And this one has some potential, I think. It's got some fairly decent looking ore. I don't know whether would pay out or not, but I'm going to take a little bit back and crush it. I'm mainly looking for free mill gold, but if somebody's looking for more of a copper gold ore, this might be up your alley. This right behind me, originally I thought this was a waste rock pile. It's not. This is ore that they had set aside. All this stuff, it's all copper stained. So there's already a pile of ore sitting here, probably from the guys that came in here in the 70s or 80s, I'm guessing, because it's right where the hoist house would have been for the shaft. So anyway, I'm going to leave the name out of this video just in advance in case you're wondering why I'm not telling you the full story on this mine. I don't want it closed up. So with that, let's jump into the video. So this mine we're coming up to, its name is the mine. This mine, it probably started around 1915 or so. Started prospecting it, but it really didn't do a whole lot until the 1915 area. They started sinking some shaft in here and a couple adits. And then in 1925, a company came in and did more work to it, but they never had a mill here that I could find any record of. They had a hoist, and I think that's the cement we're seeing right there is from the old hoist house. Over there is the shaft, which we'll look at. But there wasn't a whole lot of workings here. There was, maybe 4,000, 5,000 feet if you put it all together. I'm looking for the main portal here for the main tunnel they drove back in. I think it's over here. It is collapsed. But the way, like if somebody really wanted to come in here and open this back up, I don't think it would take a whole lot of work. This is seepage out of the tunnel. Now this goes back, it splits, it goes back in there a few hundred feet. It splits in two directions. One kind of goes back in the hill that way. The other one takes off, and it either goes 800 or 1,100 feet to the northwest. I don't know if they were just trying to intersect something better. That's kind of my guess is what that was. We'll get up there and get a little bit closer view of it. One thing that's surprising here for something that went back that far, there's not a tremendous amount of waste rock piled up here. One thing that's not been real clear to me was whether this was a drift going back on a vein or whether they were just cross-cutting trying to get back to the veins. You can see that had a chain and a gate on it. That right there is copper staining. And that's what this mainly was a copper mine with gold. So obviously they did sink this back on what they called a ledge or a vein. If you had an excavator, it wouldn't take a whole lot to dig this back out. But yep, that's definitely most likely the stuff they were after. A lot of it right here that's copper stained. Boy, I should have wore boots with spikes on the bottom of them. The ground is frozen solid. Not too many artifacts left at this old mine, old barrel. Little bits and pieces here and there. Go over here and look at the shaft or what's left of it. You can see here there's a pretty good waste rock pile. Now the shaft went down, near as I can tell, 300 to 400 feet. It's surprisingly still open. It's filled with water, but I've taken a string and a weight and dropped it down there, and I had a 100-foot string, and it kept going, kept dropping. So that thing is still open down, to however deep it went. One drawing showed it down to like 200 feet, but the other company come in and sank it deeper. And off of this, there's quite a few levels. I think the biggest one's at the 200 or 250 foot level. And it goes back, it takes off kind of at an angle that way off of this and goes back about 800 to 1,000 feet back towards that hillside. And then there's another, I don't remember what level it was, at the 150 I think, there's another level that takes off and kind of goes off to the northwest. But there's several other levels that have short drifts on them. And right over there is where the hoisting works would have been. And that the main adit goes in right behind those trees over there. Or the largest one that they had. And then back over here, there's 4 different adits cut in the hillside. This one right here, again, wouldn't take a whole lot to open this back up. But this one, back in like 1985, 86, first time I came in here with my dad, you could look back in here. Somebody had been recently working in here, and there's shovels, picks, and 2 boxes of dynamite were back in there about 20 feet back in. Probably by right where that face is that it collapsed in. And the last time I was in here I think before this collapsed, I think it was about 1992 or 3, those boxes of dynamite were still back in there and still all the tools, same spot. And then the next time I came back in here, had been collapsed in. So I think all of that is still buried back in there somewhere. So if anybody ever comes and opens this back up, this is the first adit you come to the south of the shaft. Be careful, there's probably dynamite buried back in there. And I think, if you were to dig down right there, there's the old portal there. If you just come up here and were to dig straight down right here, you would find that 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 attic going back. Now, I'm pretty sure this is one of the ledges that they were after. And it goes right up to there, kind of towards where that little attic we stuck our head in is. That's general direction that's headed. And supposedly there's 3 more this way. So we'll go take a look. This stuff, it's got a little bit of copper staining to it, but not as much as to that one to the north. Don't realize how hard it is to walk on a frozen hillside until you try and do it. 25 degrees up here today. I want you to get out in here and you start looking. There's actually more waste rock than what you first see. It's just covered in all these trees. And I think that was the largest of the adits to the south. I think these other ones are fairly small. I think that one went in about 200 feet. At least it did in 1935 when they drew the map. Okay, we made it through that mess. And I think we're coming up to, this is an old road bed. I think we're coming up to another possible adit. I have not looked at these ones over here. Okay. Right there you can see the old timbering that's long ago collapsed. But I want to get up here. Oh, that looks like some interesting material right there. Come up here and see if I can see the vein that they were following. This actually might be open to a degree. Oh, heck yeah, it's open. Oh, that's interesting. The water dripping down. It's created some interesting ice formations. Okay. Whew. Well, that actually had an echo to it. What a dummy. I did not bring my light down with me. This would be no problem. Get into this one. Trying to let my eyes focus here for a minute. Ooh! Ooh! Can't tell if it's echoing off the hillside behind me or this. Ooh! Ooh! I think it's this. Sometimes if you can get an echo, you can kind of judge how far it goes back. Boy, the pack rats have been in there. Oh, does that stink. Well, guys, I should have known better to come down in here without a flashlight. But last time I was in here, I didn't find anything open. Trying not to kill myself on this frozen hillside. Not seeing the vein. And that looks like it's just punched back into country rock. Cross-cut back to the vein. And that's what the map showed, is these were cross-cutting back to a vein. That's got some interesting minerals in it, lots of iron. I don't know if this will show up on camera, but all of that there, it's got some copper staining to it. Definitely copper ore. That's interesting. They dug this adit in that way, or kind of that way, and the veins over here going that way. But as I remember the map, the next adit back probably come in and tied into this one. This one's tying into the next vein that's probably a little bit further around the hill that way. I don't know if this little road continues on past here or not. Okay, I made it through that mess of trees. There is an old road that comes down here. I think I'm coming up to the next. Jack, you're an idiot. Here's another one. Oh, boy. I think this is the last one. I'm not super keen on trucking back in these this time of year. Be a good time for bears to be looking for a place to hang out for the winter. From the waste rock pile, I don't think this goes back real far. I think these boards were probably put in the 80s, 70s or 80s. All I got with me is a stupid cell phone light. Okay, I took the ND filter off. So hopefully this is going to capture a little something. I'm going to take a little snoop back here. I think that's the face I'm seeing. Looking for the vein. Nice and solid. Some geologist put a mark there. Oh, this goes back further than I thought. Like I said, I'm not real keen on going into these this time of year. Not at all. Okay, here's some vein that they were after right there. So they started to drift on it right there. Didn't go very far. That's what they were after. Oh boy. And it looks like our face is right here. I don't know if that's coming across, but there's a gazillion little bugs. Almost looks like another vein right there, or part of the same one maybe. That's where they stopped. Yeah, this is part of that same material. You can see the geologist mark there. Must have sampled that. Boy, I sure apologize for not having a good light. I almost picked it up and brought it with me too, and I was like, no, there's nothing open down here. Wrong. It's quite the interesting geology back here. Holy cows, there are a lot of bugs. It's actually buzzing. So yep, the map was right. Each one of these were cut back in here and hit different ledges, as they call them, or veins. You can see the dip kind of strikes to the, what's that, northwest. There's a bat hanging out up there. And then it dips to the east at about 50 degrees or so. Right there, where it hits the floor, looks like it starts dipping quite a bit steeper. Yeah, maybe not. Looks like it's just fairly wide. Yeah, it dips about 50 degrees or so. Trying to figure out why they marked that spot. I don't see anything there. Okay. Neat. As much as I want to go back into that adit and explore it, I think this one goes back further, if I remember the maps right. I think I'm going to wait on this one and bring a friend with us and go explore this one later. It's unfortunately probably going to have to be in the spring because, like I said, we're supposed to get a bunch of snow. But I want to take a sample from right here and take home for the rock crusher. See if there's any free mill gold in this. Next time we'll bring a rock pick or a rock drill or something and get a sample from that lower adit down there too. And I finally got smart and pre-labeled my bags. So this is A16. So if I need to look back where I got A16 from, right here at the second to the last adit to the south. So I just keep some of these sandbags in the rig now with pre-labeled numbers on them. That way if I don't have something to write on the bag with, it's not a big deal. I don't want to get this too full. So I want to sample from the upper adit too, or the northernmost adit. And I got to carry this up out of here. Okay, that was a fun little explore around here. I'm curious what this bag of goodies I'm taking out is going to look like. Now the little adit I stopped at on the way down, hiking down in here. We're going to come back and explore that with a buddy. It's going to have to be in the spring because I don't think we're going to be able to access this site after today. So we're going to come back to that. The other adit that's open that I didn't get into, also that's going to be a buddy explore. I think that one goes back in a little further. That one we did go in, it goes back in 70-ish, maybe 100 feet, maybe. But the other one I think goes back a little further. And this one up above here that we explored, that we poked our head in on the way down, I think it goes back, around 100 feet or so. But it's always fun to share those kind of explorers with a buddy. So I've got probably Trevor and Jerry. You've seen them on some other videos. I'll invite them to come along in the spring and we'll come explore these, maybe get some more samples. But it would be really fun to explore this one that's right behind me, but that would take quite a bit of digging by hand to get that opened back up. So I don't think that one's going to be on the menu, even though it does go back quite a ways in this hillside. Now, one thing I didn't notice when I walked down in here, but I sure noticed it when I walked back up from looking at those adits down there, is when I walked back up here next to the shaft and this the bigger adit that went back in the hillside, strong, super strong smell of sulfur. So there must be a lot of sulfides in this stuff. I don't know. I'm pretty sure it's coming from the water that's in the shaft, I think. It might be the water draining out of this adit behind me, but one of the two, boy, it's got a lot of sulfides in it because you can just smell that sulfur smell when you walk into this flat that's here. So anyway, that's about it for the Explore today. Thanks for coming along. I wish I could have took you back in those other adits today. I didn't bring a light, didn't bring my muck boots. They're back up at the rig. And I don't feel like hiking up there and back down because I got an appointment I got to be at this afternoon. I just don't have enough time to do it. But this is a fun little adventure. I didn't think I would find anything open because I've been in here multiple times, but I've never walked down to those other adits. I figured they were collapsed just like everything else. So lesson learned there. Always come prepared, but at least it gives me a chance to share it with my mine exploring buddies that come with me. So we'll come back to this spot and do a little bit more explore. And I think we'll come, wait, I just thought of something. Up on the hill above us, above where I parked, I think there's an old shaft. So we'll look at that real quick on the way out. Other than that, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys on the next video. Seems like I've looked at this before, but I don't remember what I found.